In October 1917, Lenin and the Bolsheviks seized power in a confused and exhausted Russia. They wanted no part of the imperialists' war and signed a separate peace with Germany at Brest-Litovsk in March 1918. But meanwhile, unrestricted German submarine warfare had caused the Americans to enter the conflict on the Allied side. In Austria, where the funeral of Franz Joseph marked the end of an epoch, the new Emperor Karl appealed to the Germans to make peace before it was too late. His armies were beaten and his empire disintegrating. He did not want to be deposed and murdered like Nicholas of Russia and his family. In the spring, the Germans launched a major attack on the Allied line, but the line held and the British counterattacked with hundreds of tanks. The German army reeled. On August the 14th, the Kaiser summoned a council at Supreme Headquarters, which was located in the former Grand Hotel Britannique at Spa in occupied Belgium.
Headquarters, attention! Good morning. Guard, be armed!
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Your Majesty.
Morning, Valet.
Morning, Father.
Hindenburg.
Your Majesty.
Ludendorff.
Majesty.
Von Hinze.
Majesty.
Good morning, Chancellor.
Your Majesty.
There.
A cup of coffee, Your Majesty.
Oh, thank you, Miller. Thank you. This is pure coffee?
Of course, Your Majesty.
No wood shavings at Supreme Headquarters, eh? No flavored sawdust. Let the British blockaders eat their own sawdust. Germany stands firm. Bright swords, gentlemen, shining armor. At the hour of decision, your supreme warlord once again joins the ranks of his... Thank you, Miller. Well, Hindenburg, Commander-in-Chief, state the agenda.
The Chief of Operations has offered his resignation.
Refused? That offer was refused 5 days ago.
Since that time, the situation has deteriorated.
Courage, Ludendorff. Your warlord has faith in you.
As Your Majesty commands.
Boundless faith. You are a friend I shall never desert.
Your Majesty's confidence strengthens me. Your Majesty, may General Groner bring in the latest telegrams?
Yes, of course. Good to see you again, Groner.
Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, the strategical appreciation for the month of August 1918 is as follows. The withdrawal from the war of our Russian enemies enabled us to transfer men and material from the east and to launch, 5 months ago, our great new offensive. This offensive began...
Yes. Excuse me, Your Majesty. Private telephone message for His Imperial Highness the Crown Prince.
May I take it, Father?
Certainly, Willie, certainly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Over there, if you please, Your Imperial Highness.
Thank you.
Switchboard Corporal, transfer.
Crown Prince speaking. My darling, is this wise? I insist that you obey me. Obey your Crown Prince. Now, of course, I love you. No, I will not repeat it. Very well, I will repeat it. I love you more than my wife, and when I see you tonight, I'll whack your little bottom.
Therefore, it is not possible to break the enemy's will by offensive operations. Our future objective must be to paralyze the enemy's will to win by strategic defense.
And our defensive lines are drawn with the usual precision.
Our defensive lines are in ruins.
Never.
As Your Majesty well knows.
I know nothing of the kind.
But Your Majesty, August the 8th was the black day for the German army. When the British launched their big tank attack, 6 of our divisions crumbled completely without resistance.
Yes, it is strange the way our men seem unable to get used to tanks.
Our casualty figures clearly show that there are more missing than dead and wounded. Entire units disobeyed their officers and surrendered.
Yes, it is very odd indeed. Don't you think so, Chancellor?
In the military sphere, Your Majesty, I bow completely to the judgment of the Supreme Command.
Ah, how wise. Thank you, Greta. So unlike your predecessors, huh?
These men were scum, of course, Your Majesty. Boys, comb-outs from soft jobs at home, prisoners returned from the Russian front, and so on.
Yes, so we must review conditions. We have come to a limit, have we?
Your Majesty, we have.
The war must be ended. Well, I can face it. Your warlord can face his destiny.
Your Majesty, we must negotiate an armistice.
But then regroup, smash the troublemakers at home, and fight on.
An armistice.
Yes.
But in your opinion, Ludendorff, we shall upon the last day be victorious?
Yes.
Now, do you gentlemen dispute that? Excellent. Magnificent. I shall ride through the Brandenburg Gate at the head of returning heroes.
Your Majesty, General Ludendorff informed us earlier that the army had ceased to be a perfect fighting machine.
Nonsense. Ah, Willie. Our dear foreign minister here.
It was my aide-de-camp, Father. I mean my valet.
Oh, yes. Never mind that now. Here. Here's excellent news.
Your Majesty, may I urge extreme decisiveness.
Extreme.
Discipline at home.
Discipline.
And crush disaffection.
Crush it. Yes, Grenner, what have you there?
It's just another telegram I received this morning, Your Majesty.
Read it.
Troop train in Frankfurt had this slander chalked on it. Slaughter cattle for Butcher Wilhelm and his gang.
How can they say that? If they knew my heartbreak.
Discipline, Your Majesty.
We must have a commissioner for propaganda see to it, Chancellor.
Your Majesty...
See to it. Decisiveness. Miller.
Your Majesty.
Order the cars.
At once, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, upon what terms are we to seek the armistice?
Terms?
Would Foreign Minister von Hinze not agree that a more useful topic for consideration would be the mechanics of the operation?
Field Marshal, as a mere politician, I bow to your political skill.
Mechanics? Simple. Ask the King of Spain. Or Queen Wilhelmina of Holland.
Ask the King of Spain.
To intercede, Willie.
Oh.
Yes, decisiveness. Concentration. Where's Muller?
Ordering the cars, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, shall we withdraw from Belgium?
Withdraw?
A tactical armistice will be easier to obtain if we offer to withdraw from Belgium.
But our right flank depends upon Belgium.
My sincere belief is that the sufferings of Germany have been such that even England and France must concede our right to occupy Belgium.
Why even mention Belgium? That business is settled. It is down in black and white.
In blood and field grey, Ludendorff. You drive to the station with me, Willie. I want to have a word with you.
Of course, Father.
Well, as you know, gentlemen, the health of the Empress has succumbed to the great strains placed upon it. I must be constantly at her side at Wilhelmshöhe, but I look forward to the outcome of these events with the utmost confidence. Hindenburg.
Your Majesty.
Ludendorff.
Majesty.
Von Hinze. Chancellor, Groener, gentlemen.
Guard, present arms!
Wilhelmshöhe, his castle in Germany when the war is lost.
The war is not lost.
It is.
It is not!
Ludendorff.
Gentlemen,
Please. The Emperor has made certain decisions. It is for us to enact them. However we interpret events, gentlemen, let us never forget the Emperor has a truly noble nature.
Donor, the fact about Willie's affair is that the woman is a French widow who lives near his headquarters, and, well, although it grieves us, there is a sort of stupid safeness about it. I'm sorry. I just blurted it out. The strain of keeping these facts from you has been very great.
I knew about the French widow a year ago.
You never told me.
No.
Was that your duty, Donna?
Wilhelm, your advisors are of the opinion that you should return to Supreme Headquarters in Belgium.
Now, was it not your duty to inform me?
Well, there are some sorrows that a mother should keep to herself.
Sorrows of state?
Wilhelm, I've no wish to burden you. I know how much I mean to you. My heart attack shattered you, I know that, but as Admiral Muller says...
Oh, Muller.
Your advisors...
Whisperers.
No.
Conspirators.
We must set an example of sacrifice.
False friends. Have you seen this newspaper?
I'm not dismayed by it.
Oh, no, of course not. What if the Turks are defeated? What if Austria has sued for a separate peace? What if the Bulgarian army has turned and fled? Filthy peasant rabble. When I behold the dignity of the German soldier, Donna, where is your lady in waiting?
I sent her away so that we could have this little talk.
Oh. Oh. What fun we had before the war.
We never talked like this.
We did.
We didn't. We...
Please, Donna. Oh, Donna, what am I going to do? I had a dream. I saw all our English and Russian relatives and all the ministers and generals of my reign march past, mocking me. Only the little Queen of Norway had a kind word.
She would have.
God knows I never wanted such slaughter.
Shall we say a prayer together?
Yes. What is it? Now, please tell me. Please.
Russia.
Russia?
Nicky and Alex.
Now, you mustn't think about that now.
When you saw them in your dream, were they already dead?
No.
Were they... I mean, did they still have faces?
Please, Donna.
And the children... There was no need to shoot all the children.
No need. But they are at peace now, Dora. Only God can understand these riddles.
Amen.
Amen. Donna, I think I should return to Supreme Headquarters.
So do I.
Yes, my presence there could be vital.
I'm sure it could.
Yes. Shall I find your lady in waiting?
Thank you. I shall miss you.
I know.
Civilians, politicians, that is the cause. That is the ulcer. And what has happened to my armistice proposals? Rejected. Was that my fault?
Perhaps we should have offered to withdraw from Belgium. The approach would have been more direct.
Direct? We are German soldiers. We have our pride, don't we? Where is Foreign Minister von Hinze? He is never on time. And why is that? Because he is a politician.
He does have to travel from Berlin.
The war is not in Berlin. It is here. And I cannot conduct it alone. I am so tired. Oh, my God, I am tired.
We are all tired, Erich, old comrade.
And our so-called allies are trash. Austrians, cowards. What do you want?
General? Field Marshal.
My dear Hinze, how is the Emperor?
You'll soon see for yourself. Unchanged.
You mean he still ignores what he knows to be the facts?
I mean that if he reads those newspapers which demand his abdication, he does not comment upon them.
What fortitude. For in all sincerity, he never wanted this war.
No, he wanted a victory.
And he could have had one. With more discipline and less treachery. Where's Groener?
Yeah, General.
Wireless room.
There's no change.
Wireless room!
Gentlemen, shall we be seated?
If there's no change, the news must still be bad.
Bad? Bad, he says. Do you know that we have sustained 4 days of continuous assaults? We have not slept. My eyes sting, my ears are buzzing, and staring at maps all night makes the lines crawl about like maggots. God knows what our front line has suffered. May God smash the faces of traitor civilians.
Our civilians have no food and no fuel.
Don't answer me back.
They die in their hundreds of thousands from the influenza.
Don't answer me!
My duty
is to obey. Obey! Go on. Comb out more men from the factories. Our front line has collapsed. Groener!
Nobody blames you.
Oh, but I blame myself. And I blame all traitors. Groener! German soldiers are the finest in the world. I know what cowards are. I'll tell you who I blame. I can't breathe.
Excuse me, gentlemen. General Ludendorff. General Ludendorff. What's happened?
Collapsed.
Is he dead? No, sir.
What is it?
Well, it's like shell shock, isn't it, sir?
He hasn't been near the battle.
No, sir, he hasn't.
That it should come to this, that the army of the great Frederick should come to this.
Your Majesty.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Ludendorff,
Majesty.
don't you drink too much coffee. Now, you ought to consult the specialist who attends the Empress. Is that not so, Miller?
Definitely.
Oh, yes. The Empress is an example to us all.
Your Majesty.
Is this another dream? Or are we 6 friends truly in this room? We are. The army is defeated, and we must make a direct appeal for an armistice. Von Hinze,
Your Majesty.
you must approach the American President Wilson.
Wilson's book on the Prussian Constitution offers easy hope of his sympathy.
Very true.
Now that the old Chancellor has resigned, he should be replaced by a more liberal figure.
Yes, well, President Wilson, His attitude to our constitution is very liberal.
Your Majesty should appoint your cousin, Prince Max von Baden, as Chancellor.
Max?
Yes.
He's prematurely bald, poor devil.
Admiral Müller.
Oh,
Huh?
steam up an imperial train, Your Majesty. I must order the cars at once.
What can equal the companionship of friends? In the old days, you know, I was something of a practical joker.
You were?
Oh, you suffered, I dare say, Müller.
I did, Your Majesty.
Oh, yes. We were all merry young officers together. The object, you say, Hindenburg, is to withdraw the army intact.
It is, Your Majesty.
Second Punic War. Rome versus Carthage. An alliance with England and Japan to drive the Americans out of Europe. Well, who knows the answer to these riddles? You're a good, honest man, Hindenburg. Do you know it?
It is our duty to save our social system.
Well, I think these strikes and mutinies are just the work of a few Bolshevik agitators.
Your Majesty, will you sign the proclamation here or in Berlin?
Proclamation?
For the new democratic constitution. If you sign here,
Never!
The contents of Your Majesty.
No, as supreme ruler, I am the instrument of God. There is no provision for political parties in the Reichstag to share in my executive decisions. The Reichstag is a monkey house. And if you don't believe me, go and read President Wilson's book.
The alternative to a liberally reformed Reichstag is anarchy. We must save the social system.
Oh, very well. The proclamation.
Oh. Huh? Liberalization of the Constitution. You do realize this means social democrats as ministers?
We do, Your Majesty.
Vulgar little nobodies.
They will accept your cousin, Prince Max, as Chancellor.
Oh, will they? Oh, good. At least Max is a gentleman.
Good morning, Chancellor. Forgive my lateness. I arrived in Berlin only this morning. It seems that all the pipes in the building are frozen. What?
Can you find a plumber?
I'm told that the Swiss embassy have one.
Really? If he's a German national, we can call him up.
Is Ludendorff also delayed?
My dear General.
Royal Highness, Prince Max. Excellency.
Ludendorff.
I'm sorry that I am late, but there was a riot at the railway station.
Many red flags in evidence?
Yes, very many. Whether we can soon stop that nonsense. Good God, what's that?
Fuel shortage. The power plant's closed down. Oh, do be seated, General.
Thank you.
Tell us why you requested this conversation and the audience with His Majesty.
Are my reasons not obvious?
No.
Well then, We can still win this war. My depression was ill-founded. What has happened is that the enemy cannot break through. You see, this is a war of defensive firepower. And if we can hold fast now, we can bring the enemy through weariness to a favorable armistice. And that is why His Imperial Majesty has ordered submarine warfare to the uttermost, and why I demand discipline at home.
Have you read President Wilson's armistice conditions?
Diplomatic nonsense.
Submarine warfare must cease at once. And if the United States has to deal with military leaders and imperial autocracy, it must demand not peace negotiations, but unconditional surrender.
We can crush them.
Really? You said we were defeated.
I was wrong.
I saw you collapse.
That was exhaustion, and it has passed.
The damage has been done.
Damage?
To our belief in victory.
Nonsense. When does His Majesty arrive?
He's late.
Well, I can see that.
Before he arrives, Ludendorff, there's something you should know.
Yes?
I must preface it by saying that I have admired you very much. I mean men like you. Soldiers.
Good.
Inevitable.
I don't see why.
Soldiers reunited Germany. So as well as the bands and the uniforms, there is the mystic passion of the soldier's oath. I suppose it was for the sake of the mystery that we accepted the imperial system. His Imperial Majesty is the supreme warlord, Hindenburg is chief of staff, and someone like yourself makes the actual decisions. The staff has the keenest brains of the empire, and we've always admired them. But when even plumbers and railwaymen know that the staff is grotesquely mistaken, it is time to change.
Your Highness, I most strongly protest.
I've told the Emperor that either you or I must go.
You are a milk and water liberal.
Gentlemen.
Next! Your Majesty, there is treason here. For the sake of the war and of your throne, I beg you to listen to what I have to say.
Your next appointment is with me, I believe, Ludendorff.
It is, Your Majesty.
The substance is that your resignation will be most acceptable.
Never.
To put it bluntly, your recent attitudes have not been helpful to the national sacrifice.
Your Majesty, I must repeat for your...
I will not dispute.
Conspirators!
Silence!
I will not be silent!
Guard! Arrest that man!
Conspirators!
God save Ludendorff!
What?
Have you no idea of military discipline?
Majesty, please accept my most loyal resignation.
That's better. Hindenburg will appoint your successor, General Grenner. Ah! Oh, the lights weren't off for too long, were they? My God!
Your Majesty?
Is this a thermometer?
Yes.
Max, have you caught the influenza?
I'm afraid I have.
We shouldn't be in the same room with you. Miller, follow me. Gentlemen.
His Majesty has been betrayed by civilians. Conspirators have influenced those aspects of his character that are notoriously shallow.
Shall we alert your driver, General?
If His Majesty loses the war, he will also lose his throne.
Oh, yes, he'll lose both those.
At least my hands are clean.
The question is, can we even save the monarchy?
Not with civilians.
Shall I alert your driver?
Yes, do. At least he is a soldier. Highness, Excellency.
Did you walk over here from Supreme Headquarters?
Of course, Your Majesty.
Well, of course you did. Yes. Well, now, what do you think of my little garden house?
Charming. Charming.
Well, it struck me at once. Style of Frederick the Great.
Of course.
Gentlemen.
Majesty.
Hindenburg. No greeting. Oh, my God.
An old man's tears, Your Majesty.
Come. Rejoice! President Wilson and his allies have agreed to an armistice. Tasks of peacetime reconstruction await us. Now, this Crown Council has been called to discuss the affairs of the interior, which will be under the command of the Emperor.
Your Majesty, I beg to be allowed to resign my commission. As a Prussian officer, I cannot say what I now have to say.
No resignations, none. Come on. Now, gentlemen, an appreciation of the situation in Germany at present is as follows.
Majesty, armed mobs control the ports, the Rhine crossings, the principal cities of the fatherland, and the railway system. No trains can pass, the army is cut off.
Precisely. I shall place myself at the head of the units that remain loyal and restore order.
That would mean civil war within the army itself.
I don't believe you.
Your Majesty no longer has an army.
What?
The army will march home in peace under its generals, but not under the command of Your Majesty.
I must have that in writing. I must have a written statement from all my generals commanding. Am I not your supreme warlord? Have you not sworn your soldier's oath?
In this situation, Your Majesty, that oath is a fiction.
Hindenburg! My God!
Field Marshal.
Yes? Yes? Thank you. Berlin. All troops deserted. Situation out of hand.
This Crown Council is temporarily adjourned. Social Democrats, traitors, conspirators against my dynasty. God knows my willingness to abdicate if that were the true wish of the German people. Oh, I've reigned long enough to know what a thankless task it is. How dare that newspaper say that I cling to my imperial position? All I've done is to pursue my duty side by manly side with the army and with the people. Ah, Willie, my poor boy.
Father?
And as for abdication in favor of the regency, each one of my sons has sworn never to succeed me in that fashion. Correct, Willie?
Correct, Father.
So there, gentlemen, so there.
So Your Majesty has considered the tactics of abdication?
Do you accuse me of your own cunning?
We could make a better peace without you, Your Majesty.
I shall never speak to Grana again.
One of my aides suggested that you could abdicate as emperor but remain king of Prussia.
Remain?
Why, that's it. That's the solution.
Well, I said even so, I couldn't become emperor because I know the Belindrug.
Belindrug?
Don't shoot the Kaiser because you might get the Crown Prince in his place.
Pull yourself together, my boy. That is the solution. Thank you. Von Hinze? Prince Max, what is happening?
What's happening? What? No, it's not the line, it's my influenza. I have the Social Democrat leader, Herr Ebert, with me, and... What? No, street fighting. There's a general strike. The Bolshevik has... Hello? 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 Cut off.
Oh, my God.
Hello?
Will this be my office?
When I've resigned and you're Chancellor.
Yes.
Don't you like it?
It's too big.
Oh, hello. Is that Von Hinze? Yes. Will the Emperor speak to me himself?
Will he?
No. No, we must have a statement in 30 minutes. Yes. What? Nothing.
Perhaps battalions of homosexuals?
I said perhaps... Hello, hello, hello. Cut off.
Homosexuals?
He asked, how can we disarm the mutinous sailors? I suggested that battalions of homosexuals might do it. I agree, a joke in very frivolous taste.
Now, will the Emperor abdicate?
He's considering the matter.
Did you tell them about the crowds on the streets? What should we do?
We must announce his abdication.
But he hasn't abdicated yet.
I'll take the responsibility. Well, will you make the announcement or shall I?
What's the correct form?
I'm the resigning Chancellor. I imagine the duty falls on me.
Good. We socialists have no wish to upset the procedures. Thank goodness. Hindenburg and Groener have gone. Pessimists. They have absolutely no sense of peacetime reconstruction.
Indeed not, Father.
Now, your mother will be very pleased by all this. Ah, she is an example to us all. She always wanted me to spend more time on Prussian domestic causes.
Your Majesty.
Oh, yes, we are composing a statement, Miller. There's no cause for anxiety.
Telegrams from Berlin.
What's that? Announced my abdication? What? This is treason, barefaced treason.
What's happened?
My own cousin has announced my abdication, a traitor. He seems to be totally unaware of the fact that I am still King of Prussia.
Herr von Ince! Herr von Ince! He must cease. Tell him that under no circumstances must he... What? Please wait, I'll ring you back. Ebert. What? Oh, God. The Bolsheviks have seized the Imperial Palace and proclaimed a Soviet regime.
Oh, my head's begun to ache.
That's not all. Our side has seized the Reichstag and proclaimed a democratic socialist republic.
It's when one relaxes, of course, all the aches and pains catch up.
Thank you. What should I do?
I don't know.
Ebert, the office of the Chancellor. What? Oh, Your Royal Highness.
Hello? Yes? Yes, Von Hinze. Yes, I've resigned. I'm going home to sleep. What? Don't be ridiculous, old friend. The monarchy's completely lost.
Give me the party headquarters. Yes, I'm waiting.
My God, are you back here already?
My emperor.
You no longer have an emperor.
My emperor. We cannot see you taken prisoner to Berlin. Our advice is that you formally abdicate and seek refuge in Holland.
Do you think I am afraid to stay here with my troops?
No, Your Majesty.
I shall put this villa into a state of defense. See to it, Miller. Machine gun posts, trenches where necessary. What will you do, Willie? Rejoin your troops?
Yes.
Well done.
Your Majesty, I beg you to go to Holland.
Your Majesty?
Is that you, Muller?
Yes, Your Majesty.
I'm in the depths, Muller. I'm deserted. I'm stricken to the heart.
The officers of your suite are all still here, Your Majesty.
Well, thank God I'm used to loneliness. The disability I was born with has made me very self-reliant. Where have you been?
As you commanded, Your Majesty, I've had the baggage put aboard the Imperial train.
Unload it. Unload it.
At once, Your Majesty.
I shall fight on here, Muller. I shall expend the last round of ammunition. Have you seen any drunken soldiers? Rioters, looters. Moral decay of that kind seems to accompany all dynastic catastrophes. Poor Germany. Contemptible, unwashed France. And as for England, Miller, as for England, why do they hate me so much? They do realize, don't they, that their blockade killed more women and children than did my submarines. They do realize that, don't they? Well, thank God, the Empress is safe in Potsdam.
She is an example to us all.
Oh, yes. Of course she is. The English do know about the starvation and the disease they've caused. They do know about that, don't they? They do know that their hatred is entirely unfair. Well, my courage is unabated. No, I can handle these problems. I have the map of Europe here in my head. Oh, yes, sleeping and waking. If my destiny is to be a tragic one, then let it come. Of course, in different circumstances, I might have been an archaeologist. Something of that kind. As one grows older, these things seem less important. I often think of our plumes, you know. Plumed helmets at the Brandenburg Gate. Where are you going?
To unload the baggage, Your Majesty.
Well, don't. We'll go to Holland. But no farewells. At least we'll spare the generals that satisfaction.
Well, you wake the Field Marshal?
No, sir.
Oh?
He was already awake, sir.
Hiding.
Sir?
Nothing. Did you tell him Berlin was on the wire?
Of course, sir.
Is he coming down?
Yes, sir.
Well, Governor, has it happened?
Yes, Field Marshal. The Imperial train steamed away in silence.
What direction?
Holland.
Berlin.
Sergeant.
Ebert here, the office of the Chancellor.
Hindenburg. Please listen. It is the opinion of the Supreme Command that the government of which you are Chancellor is the only one with any claim to legality. In consequence of this opinion, Supreme Headquarters will send loyal troops to support your government and to restore order.
But my government has no legal claim. How can we hold elections?
Please be calm, Chancellor. There are two conditions. First, your government will provision the troops. Understood? Second, your government will cooperate in the suppression of mob rule or of Bolshevism. Understood?
Of course we agree. Of course. Don't we all want the violence to stop?
Good. Yes, then you can hold your elections in which the majority will vote for peace and quiet.
Field Marshal, you have saved us.
Indeed. What? Yes, we must hope for favorable terms of the peace treaty. Good night, Chancellor.
Good night, Field Marshal. Thank God.
There are certain values, Groener, of which the Emperor and his army are the eternal protectors. We cannot save the Emperor, but we can save the army.
I know that, Field Marshal.
We must save Germany. It is our sacred duty. Good night, Governor.
Field Marshal.
Good night, Sergeant.
Good night, sir. Excuse me, sir. How will the Emperor live?
The Emperor? I expect they'll find him a mansion in Holland.
Count Bentinck,
Your Imperial Majesty.
to place your house at our disposal is more than generous. I understand that, like me, you are a knight of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem.
We share that honor, sir.
Is it true that the Austrian Emperor has fled?
I believe it is so.
The end of an epoch. What do you think of it all?
Mm-hmm. Will you meet my wife and household?
You are not a Freemason?
No, sir, I am not.
Splendid. We accept your hospitality.
Please.
So, now for some tea. A cup of good English tea.